I'm Kerry.
And I'm Katie.
And this is Grave Silence. Here we are then, welcome back.
Welcome back, part 2 of the focus on JonBenét Ramsey.
Yeah, so if you didn't listen to part 1, go back and listen to part 1, because obviously that covers all the little bit about the family beforehand, the murder and the autopsy findings and the interview with Detective Arndt and what she felt about John, interestingly.
Felt very strongly, didn't she?
Yes, she did. And now we're just going to cover the second half, and this focuses more on theories.
Yeah.
And we'll go then around our reflection and
see
what
we thought of it all.
Yes,
the armchair detectives that we are.
Oh yeah. Well, you know. But now we're going to go into the interviews. Interviews were conducted with the Ramseys, though not immediately. Crazy. John and Patsy Ramsey were formally interviewed by police on April the 30th, 1997.
What?
Yeah, literally 4 months later.
Brilliant.
4 months later.
Okay.
Burke Ramsey, who was 9 years old at the time, was interviewed by a child psychologist working with law enforcement on January the 8th, 1997.
What the hell?
So that was a good, just over a week.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He was interviewed again in 1998 by the Bold District Attorney's Office. So I've seen videos and watched videos of interviews and things like that. And yeah, it's an odd watch. It feels really uncomfortable to watch. Really uncomfortable to watch. He's kind of up and down in the chair, which I can't, I understand that
he's a kid.
Yeah, he's only little, but he's kind of really fidgety. But there's no sign of, I don't know, the fact that he's just lost his little sister. There's no kind of. I mean, maybe that's just me looking into it because I have my own theories around
with hindsight. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just it's a little bit uncomfortable. Friends and neighbours were also interviewed. Fleet and Priscilla White, there they are.
Here they are again.
There they are again. Who'd been close to the Ramseys, later became critical of the investigation and of the Ramseys' actions.
Interesting.
Fleet and John actually argued at JonBenét's funeral.
Right.
Fleet felt that John's rooted perception of Southern hospitality came across as ostentatious. Fleet was disturbed by the parties and luxuries he had observed in Atlanta, which he interpreted as a display of opulence and ostentation. Opulence and ostentation.
So he thinks they're showing off.
He thinks they're being a bit showy.
It's too much, and it's bad taste and bad timing, and yeah,
I get it. I mean, to be fair, the Irish are quite similar to that. I mean, we celebrate the death with a party because you're seeing that person over, that you're celebrating their life rather than sitting there all gloomy. But at a 6-year-old, bit showy. Don't know.
I mean, we've been lucky enough to never to be in that position.
Yes, yeah.
So who knows? But obviously, Party Boy Fleet was disturbed enough by it.
This interpretation led to a dispute with the Ramsey family, which escalated into a significant rift in their friendship. Yeah. The argument was so severe that John Ramsey felt unsafe around Fleet White and refused to board a plane with him, indicating the depth of the fallout from this incident.
Jesus Christ, what does he think he's going to do?
It's going to rough him up a bit.
He felt unsafe and refused to board a plane with him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some strop, isn't it? That is some monk on,
unless
as he would have said.
Yeah, unless he's seen something or heard something and knows what Fleet White is capable of.
Or he's just worried about what might be said if he remains to be in the same room as Fleet when Fleet is annoyed with him already. More on that later.
Yeah. The Fernies and the Steins and other acquaintances of the Ramseys provided statements about the family's activities during the holiday period. Throughout the investigation, multiple pieces of evidence remained unresolved. The origin of the high-tech boot was never identified. The broken window's relevance remained disputed. The ransom note's authorship was never determined. The unidentified DNA found on JonBenét's clothing was not matched to any known individual. No one has ever been charged in connection with the case. However, Armchair sleuths and investigators have some theories floating around in the big wide ether of the internet, of Tinternet.
Of Tinternet. Of course they do.
Of course they do. Because, we like to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We like to know if the crazy has been dealt with.
That we do. We want to try and provide a logic to the nonsense.
Yeah.
The human brain needs logic and reasons and understandings.
Absolutely.
And where nobody's found a theory that ties everything together,
including professionals, not just us web sleuths, and not just us, not just you and me, Katie, not just us,
us. I mean, yeah, okay.
But here we are.
Who have we got then?
Well, Bill McReynolds, a local Santa performer. I mean, if that doesn't tick all the boxes, I don't know what does. Santa performer in the 90s.
Yeah,
weirdo.
Yeah, weirdo.
Absolutely.
All day long.
So he went to the Ramsey home 2 days before for the Christmas party. He was there in his Santa suit, being a weirdo.
Ho, ho, hoing.
Ho, ho, hoing. According to reports, McReynolds gave JonBenét a card that read, "You will receive a very special gift after Christmas."
Oh, God, that doesn't look good looking back, does it?
It really doesn't.
Looking back, that does not look good.
Apart from the fact that he's dressed as Santa, it's fucking creepy at the best, isn't it?
We've all seen the films of a dodgy Santa.
We have. I mean, I remember, again, being a young child of the 90s, being born in 1981, so around about that time, I remember going into a Christmas grotto in Croydon. I think it was the Whitgift Centre. They'd had like a Santa grotto set up. Myself and my best friend at the time went in and was asked to sit on Santa's knee.
No.
Keeping in mind that I'd probably been about 15 as to why I had gone in to see Santa.
Brace yourself, Nick.
Saint Nick. Brace yourself, my friend. 15-year-old coming in and was predominantly touched up by Santa on his knee.
Jesus Christ.
Looking back now, I realised what had happened. Didn't think of it at the time, being 15, and then was given 3 magical rings from a magic set for my troubles. Maybe a slight bribe.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that is, wow. I've never heard this story from you. I'm learning new things.
Yeah, I'm filled with many more to come. Stay tuned, listeners. Kerry and Katie's childhood trauma, and on.
Going back to Bill McReynolds. So his wife, Janet, had also written a play in 1976 about a young girl who was molested, tortured and murdered in a basement. Their middle daughter was kidnapped on December the 26th, 1974, exactly 22 years before JonBenét's death. I mean, okay. Why, if your daughter has been kidnapped in 1974, do you then, 2 years later in 1976, write a play about a young girl who's molested, tortured and murdered in the basement?
Anything for content.
What on earth? I mean, they say, writing about it is your therapy, but I don't...
I mean, writing a play about it, probably not. Probably not.
Wow, I mean...
That's a step above and on, isn't it?
That's a discussion with a therapist,
I mean,
not a play.
Quite.
Enter Act 1, Scene 2. I don't know what I'm saying now.
At this point, we're done. Poor old McReynolds, though. He'd undergone heart surgery and was physically limited. Both he and his wife were cleared of the charges after submitting DNA samples and hair samples, neither of which matched any of the evidence found. So that's always a positive for Santa. Creepy Santa.
Another individual of interest was Gary Oliver, a known sex offender who lived in Boulder at the time. Described as a drifter who frequently wandered the area, he was reportedly using an address about 10 blocks from the Ramsey home during the period of the murder. On the day JonBenét was killed, Oliver allegedly phoned a friend and confessed to hurting a little girl. 4 years later, in December 2000, Boulder police arrested him on a drug charge and found a photo of JonBenét in his possession, along with a poem titled Ode to JonBenét.
Whoa.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Whoa. I think you can find the poem online.
photos of the poems. So if I find them, I will add them in over the YouTube video so you can see them. But creepy.
In 2019, Oliver sent Michael Vale a series of disturbing letters and poems in which he claimed responsibility for JonBenét's death, saying he'd had killed her by accident. In one letter he wrote, "I never loved anyone like I did JonBenét, and yet I let her slip, and her head bashed in half, and I watched her die. It was an accident. Please believe me. She was not like the other kids."
Jesus.
So, despite these statements, DNA testing did not match him to the crime.
Well, that's a positive.
He is a poorly man.
He's a poorly boy.
Poorly man.
Wow.
Yeah. But leaving, Oliver where he is.
Where he sat.
A 26-year-old electrician named Michael Helgoth also emerged as a person of interest. Private investigator Ollie Gray described Helgoth, who worked at a local auto salvage yard, as a hellraiser, and suggested he may have had a property dispute with the Ramseys that could have provided motivation.
It's a bit steep, though, isn't it?
I mean, a property dispute.
I've got beef with where you've laid your fence, but so I'm now going to pretend to kidnap your kid and feed her pineapple.
You can't get over that pineapple, can you?
It's livid. I'm livid.
I mean, it repeats on me, if I'm honest.
Oh, I like it.
The case took a darker turn when Helgoth died by suicide just 2 days after a 1997 press conference in which the Boulder District Attorney announced that they were closing in on a suspect. Was it feeling guilty? Who knows? Although a boot print similar to his was reportedly found near the Ramsey home, DNA evidence ultimately ruled him out.
So he wasn't there? Just another weirdo to add to the list.
Mm-hmm. The long, long list.
Speaking of other weirdos.
Former school teacher, which frankly is concerning, John Mark Carr became one of the case's most notorious suspects after his shocking 2006 confession. Arrested in Thailand, he'd written a diary under the name of Daxis, in which he described the crime in disturbing detail. In one entry, he wrote, "Close your pretty eyes, sweetheart. Daxis loves you so much. Oh God, I love you, JonBenét. And my lover's eyes are slowly closing."
That is revolting.
It's like, if you didn't know, you'd think it was a love note. It turns my stomach, if I'm quite honest.
Creepy John Carr.
And he is so creepy. But his DNA did not match any evidence from the scene either, and investigators were unable to confirm that he'd ever been in Boulder at the time of the murder. His confession was ultimately dismissed as an attempt to gain fame.
Of course it was.
I mean, for fuck's sake, go on America's Got Talent like the rest of them.
It happens so regularly, though. The amount of cases that I've read where somebody's gone, I did it, and then they weren't even in the bloody country or something. They were over in, I don't know, random Czechoslovakia or Germany or somewhere else. But
no offense,
what the fuck? Obviously, but yeah, there's always a couple of weirdos that come out of the woodwork. Always.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's meeting a need, who knows? But
what fucking need would that be?
We are trying to apply logic to fucking nonsense.
To illogic.
Speculation that the murder involved someone inside the home emerged early in the investigation. This was driven by several factors: the lack of forced entry, the ransom note being written on materials from inside the house. I'm going back there, but I'm going to come away. I've already spoken about it. And happening to request the exact amount of John Ramsey's annual bonus, and the fact that JonBenét's body was discovered in a basement room by John. The ransom note's unusual length and elaborate wording were also considered atypical for a genuine kidnapping.
I'd say.
Some investigators believe these elements suggested staging by her parents after a possible tragic accident. This leads us into another widely discussed theory.
Just one?
Just the one.
Just the one.
Or a few.
Just the one. A crazy amount of public speculation has focused on the possibility that Burke Ramsey may have been involved in JonBenét's death. Now, before I get started on this, I want to make it a point that it is allegedly. None of us have millions to be sued with, Burke, all right, if you're listening to this very first podcast by these very new podcasters. But yeah, please don't take it personally. These are theories. I have my own theory on it, and we would probably discuss that later, but
can be sued for later.
One version of this theory proposes that Burke struck JonBenét with the flashlight found in the kitchen on the kitchen counter after an argument over her eating his bowl of pineapple.
Not worth it.
People then think that their parents staged the scene out of fear that Burke would be taken from the home. Another variation suggests that Patsy, preoccupied with preparing for the family's upcoming trip to Michigan, may not have been closely supervising the children. And according to this theory, JonBenét and Burke could have been playing in the basement and possibly looking through wrapped presents that were later found down there by the investigators. Some of the presents had pieces of wrapping paper torn open, and an argument may have escalated between the siblings, resulting in Burke striking JonBenét.
What kid hasn't gone down and tried to sneak at the presents that's under the wrapping paper? Do you know?
I have another story about that, but I think we'll leave my story.
God, we've opened a box. So
let's put a lid back on the box for Kerry, and we'll leave that for another time.
Okay. Christmas special.
This is not a psychiatrist session.
Although it could be. Who knows?
I mean, it could be. This theory incorporates the detail that Patsy Ramsey had purchased size 12 to 14 day-of-the-week underwear from Bloomingdale's as a Christmas gift for her niece. This happened in November of '96 during a trip to New York. Other gifts from that trip included toys from F.A.O. Schwartz, a well-known toy store, which happens to be in New York as well.
Mm-hmm.
Crime scene photographs show F.A. Schwartz presents stored in the wine cellar, making it plausible that the wrapped underwear gift was stored with them. It was Patsy that told police she had peeled open some of the wrapped presents because she had forgotten what was inside them. JonBenét was found wearing a pair of size 12 to 14 Bloomingdale's underwear. Although Patsy told police she'd given the underwear to her to use, no other pairs from the pack of 7 were found in JonBenét's dresser. In fact, no underwear in size 12 to 14 was found in any of her drawers. All of her underwear was size 4 to 6. This raises the question of why they would have been looking for that particular package. Autopsy findings and fibre evidence indicate JonBenét was likely wiped down. Her original underwear may have been removed and replaced, possibly because it was soiled, contained blood from the vaginal injury, or held evidence of what had occurred before the head blow. After she was cleaned, the oversized underwear may have been used simply because it was available. The pair chosen happened to correspond to the correct day of the week, Wednesday. The rest of the underwear pack was never located. If Patsy had given the set to JonBenét, its absence from her drawer raises a question of where the remaining pairs went.
That's really specific, isn't it? When we talk about JonBenét's body when she was found as if tucked in. She's wearing pants from the correct day of the week.
That's a very maternal, dare I say.
In my pant buying experience, days of the week pants are packaged Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Pack of 7.
Order. In that order. So it's not as though somebody's opened the package from one end and
just grabbed the
either
first
end
pair.
of the first pair of pants. Wednesday has been chosen.
Yep.
It was Wednesday, which was Boxing Day. She was found on the Wednesday. So those pants had been put on at the start of that day rather than the end of the day before. And maybe I'm taking a big leap to assume that.
No,
again,
it's a valid leap.
Just conjecture.
Yeah, going back to that point of the pants in the pack, you're not going to faff about, fiddle about,
open them. You've got a little girl that's wet herself, let's say. Open them from the middle of the pack and go Wednesday. You know, you just whip out, open the pack at the end. Bugger it, I've got a Sunday. You know,
well, we need it. We're here. Here we are.
Yeah, we're here. Know? We've got, you know, don't worry about it. It seems very maternal to me.
Where's the rest of the pack?
Yeah, it's caring, isn't it? And
it is.
And like you said, she was found wrapped in a blanket. That's a very maternal thing to do, isn't it? It's almost a caring, you know, wrap her in, tuck her in. I've got to accept kind of clean her off,
put her to bed,
put a pair of knickknacks on her that are a Wednesday, and but that's where our theories go anyway. As well as this, John and Patsy stated that Burke had been asleep throughout the night and didn't wake until 7 a.m.
I don't get that. I don't get that. You get up at 5:30, you find a ransom note, you realise that your daughter is missing.
You would be howling.
And also, wouldn't you not go directly to the room of your other child, check that he is okay, wake him up if he is still asleep and go, Burke, JonBenét's missing. Did you hear anything? Do you know where she is?
Have you seen her? Where's she been? Did she come into you? Son, there's a bowl of pineapple downstairs on the table. I didn't put it there.
I didn't put
it
there.
Where
did it come from? Again, I've been so lucky never to be in this position, but it begs belief to me how come he wasn't checked, he wasn't asked, didn't wake up, even if they didn't run to him to check he was okay.
Yeah, and
wake up. And
in that time, they've started to have people, because when did she phone them? She phoned them at 10 to 6.
Yeah, 5:52
and then the police were there like 6 minutes later, something like that. And you don't hear the ringing of the doorbell. You don't hear, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I know kids sleep really soundly sometimes, but there's no, that you don't hear any hustle and bustle going on. No crying from mum, no, you know, shouting from dad, where is she, or anything like that.
I can't get over that parental instinct for one of those parents to not go and check on Burke. Now you can't find your daughter. Is your daughter in Burke's room? Has she crawled in there to go to
have
sleep?
A cuddle with her brother?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Know, it's all a bit.
I don't get it. That as a parent, that I can't fathom in my
It stinks, doesn't it? Well, interestingly enough, some people have said that at the end of the 911 call that we played earlier, it's been enhanced online, and some people have said that you can hear at the end of that call a child's voice saying, "What did you find?"
We've got that call, haven't we?
We
got
have,
that enhanced
and
version.
I'm going to put it here and see what you think. I think personally, it sounds like, "What did you find? What did you find?" Others say that they can hear, "What do you find?" or "What did you find?" from a child's voice, and then a man's voice saying, "We're not speaking to you." See what you think.
Patsy? Patsy?
I personally think it says, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I mean, I can hear a child's voice. I can't hear an adult's voice, but it sounds to me like a child's voice saying, "What did you do?" I don't know. Although this idea was explored by investigators and later amplified by various media outlets, no physical evidence has ever supported it. I mean, an enhanced 911 call you might say is physical evidence.
But I mean, I don't see what else they mean by physical evidence other than the call. What other physical evidence could be made about the call?
I don't know.
Am I being thick? It is possible it has occurred before.
No. I think that's what they're trying to say, but it's debatable.
Despite this, Burke continued to face widespread speculation. Some investigators pointed to his demeanour during interviews, such as smiling while discussing his sister's death,
it's really
as potentially
creepy.
troubling.
Yeah.
Child psychology experts, however, have noted that children often display unexpected or seemingly inappropriate reactions when processing trauma.
I mean, I know I said earlier that I think it was an odd watch. However, knowing what you and I both know, and our experiences with neurodiverse children, my thoughts are, and I don't know why it didn't hit me until now, actually, and a lot earlier, but my money would be that he's neurospicy.
Yeah, he's autistic all day long.
Absolutely.
All day long.
The smiles, the fidgeting, the response to a lot of things, and even watching him through that documentary, I would wholeheartedly say he's
an adult, autistic,
all day long.
I think so.
Just the responses in themselves, the eye contact, the way he flits away as well, very much so. I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm 100% with you. We know that, as you say, how do you ever know that how you're going to react to trauma? But we do know that neurospicy children will show often, what you feel is inappropriate response.
And if I remember rightly, I'm sure there was some talk of him possibly smearing. I'm sure there was. I've heard that before as well. And again, that's another
another
possibly another trait, isn't it?
Possibly.
And
he's a kid, right? And I just think that a lot of children laugh when they're uncomfortable. They laugh when they're nervous. It's a way of pacifying people around you to laugh, because you're not really sure how to take a situation and you want to try and calm things down, you know, or laugh with embarrassment, or facial expressions are not always what we believe them to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And if judging by what our theories are, and obviously we'll go on to that later on, we're not saying that it means that it's an excuse. However, what we're saying is it does give a lot of backstory as to why he may react the way he does in a lot of his interviews and things like that. And also the way he handles his emotional situations and how he handles the way he reacts to JonBenét's death.
Yeah, 100%. Public scrutiny intensified in 2016 with the release of CBS's docuseries The Case of JonBenét Ramsey. During the programme's promotion, forensic pathologist Werner Spitz made highly controversial statements implicating Burke. In an interview with CBS Detroit, Spitz claimed, "It's the boy who did it, whether he was jealous or mentally unfit or something. I don't know the why, but what I'm sure about is what I know about him."
Them some bold words, my friend.
Aye, very strong words. Burke responded to this forcefully, filing an $150 million defamation lawsuit against Spitz, followed by a $750 million lawsuit against CBS.
Yeah, don't do that to us, Burke, will you? Just because we're theorising things.
No, please don't.
What's half of nothing, I say?
It's all alleged. Well, exactly. Hackle, that's what it is. Now, but what I will say is, and kind of for Burke, and I was going to say I don't want to put words in his mouth. It's not like I've spoken to him about this theory.
No.
But imagine growing up, right? Your mum and dad spend all their time, or what I would perceive to be a lot of time, taking your kid sister around to pageants.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into them, isn't there?
As a 9-year-old boy, is he dragged along to all those pageants?
Is it a jealousy thing because he doesn't get to see his mum a lot,
Is he...
JonBenét's taken up all her time.
Yeah. Is he resentful of his sister?
Yeah.
What is he doing? What was he feeling left out while all this stuff was going on?
Yeah.
Burke was determined to defend his innocence, and ultimately he was cleared by that DNA evidence.
Yeah, it always comes back down to the DNA evidence, doesn't it?
It always does. Some have suggested that the incident may have stemmed from Patsy's frustration after a late-night bedwetting episode, a theory often cited to explain why JonBenét's underwear had been changed. So, get this right, Steve Thomas, he's a former narcotics detective. I mean, whether that was linked to these parties that they were having, who knows?
Like a little bit of the devil's dandruff.
Devil's dandruff.
A little bit of snow.
So he joined the Boulder Police Department's investigation, so he's had no prior homicide experience.
Brilliant.
And he became one of the most, shall we say, forceful advocates for this theory that Patsy Ramsey killed JonBenét in a moment of rage after she wet the bed. So back to physical evidence again.
Here we go.
That did not support a fresh bedwetting incident. The sheets on JonBenét's bed do not appear newly changed, and the fibre analysis did not indicate a recent laundering. But Thomas remained convinced, to the point that he confronted John and Patsy Ramsey with his theory during a live television appearance on Larry King.
That's brutal.
Where are you going? Well, what?
I'm going to go on live TV and I'm going to point a finger.
100%. Thomas even expanded on his accusations in the book that laid out his belief in this maternal rage scenario, a book that prompted the Ramseys to sue him for defamation. We're in dangerous territory.
This is what you get when you mess with billionaires.
With billionaires. Thomas's certainty, despite the lack of evidence and support among other investigators, really highlighted how fractured bolder law enforcement were becoming inside their own ranks when it came to theories about JonBenét's death. Because at the same time, John also came under scrutiny. Questions were asked as to why he would walk straight to the wine cellar door. So remember, he passed the boiler room as his first stop in his and Fleet's search, and Detective Arndt had her own concerns. While Arndt was accused by some as trying to distract from her own poor handling of the case, others also shared that John was opening mail while waiting for the ransom call, and was also later heard making arrangements to fly to the family to Atlanta just hours after the murder. John did later admit to this by saying that they'd been asked to leave the house and he just wanted to go back to Atlanta, where they'd lived for over 25 years. But that's another thing I'm kind of thinking is that the ransom call time goes and it just passes and nobody's clock watching, nobody's going, what do we do now?
You would be going out of your tiny little mind, wouldn't you? Staring at every second that clock ticked away.
100%.
And I mean, look, like we've said before, we've not been in this position, but going and opening your mail, don't get me wrong, you might be kind of going around and wiping the sides down like a mad person and things because you're trying to create that form of routine in your mind, but just standing there opening your mail and being described as cordial.
Yeah. The grand jury convened in 1998 to review the case. In 1999, they voted to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges related to child abuse, resulting in death and accessory to a crime. The district attorney at the time, Alex Hunter, declined to sign the indictment, stating that the evidence was insufficient to support prosecution. The indictment remained sealed until 2013, when it was released following a public records request. The Ramseys were never charged.
Here's our favourite person.
Aye.
We're back on him. Fleet White. Our Fleet White also came into speculation. Fleet had a key to the Ramseys' home and knew the family would be away that evening. And the Ramseys discovered the ransom note early on the morning of December the 26th and called their friends. Fleet and Priscilla White arrived within minutes despite the early hour. And Fleet again taking extensive notes as the morning unfolded.
Taking notes?
Yeah.
What's he taking notes for?
Maybe he's got a shopping list he needs to crack out.
Oh, Jesus.
And he also had access to the pad and pen that was used for the note. Interestingly enough, something I don't think we've mentioned, the notepad, you could read the writing underneath it on the top, you know, like when you've ripped it off.
Yeah.
And you indent on the bottom, like the pages underneath. That to me is a bit weird as well, because I know that happens, but if you're just scrawling down a note really quickly, do you kind of put that much pressure on it? And
I mean, who knows at this point? To be honest, I'm starting to question my own mind in this case.
It's insane. Fleet had gone into the basement alone during the initial search and later accompanied John when JonBenét's body was found. After the discovery, he returned to the basement again and handled the tape that had been on JonBenét's mouth, despite police instructions not to disturb anything. Who are
you, Fleet White?
He's note taking. He's note taking. I mean, fair enough. Some of the investigation may have looked shoddy from the very outset, but he's taking notes. But he's also ignoring the instructions from a police officer saying, "Don't fucking touch that stuff." They're back there playing that fucking memory game again, aren't they? That's what it is.
In the hours that followed, according to pageant seamstress Pam Griffin, whose account appears in Presumed Guilty, Fleet inserted himself into the activity inside the house, directing people around, restricting access to Patsy and intervening when Griffin attempted to comfort her, behaviour she described as intrusive and unsettling until someone eventually told him to step back. Do you know what's just popped into my mind? Do you think there might be a cheeky bit of something going on between Patsy and Fleet?
Maybe. I mean, like I said, we talked about extracurricular activities at these parties.
Who knows?
He's clearly a very take control
He's
character.
a very yeah.
That's another thing to think about.
These observations and recollections became part of the broader public discussion about Fleet White's actions during the critical early hours of the investigation. Though law enforcement was repeatedly stated that no evidence ever linked Fleet and Priscilla White to the crime, yet again, there's no physical DNA evidence. In the following years after the murder, the relationship between the Whites and the Ramseys went to shit. And then obviously, we know that there was the argument at the funeral and etc. In 1998, Fleet White penned a scathing letter accusing the Ramseys of obstructing the investigation. The refusal of John and Patsy Ramsey to cooperate fully and genuinely with the police has been the first and foremost cause of the investigation's failure, he wrote.
Do you know what I've just thought of? Do you remember Eurotrash when they had the people like who were
doing the voices,
doing the voiceovers of what they're saying in English, which could just have some random, so they know it's a quotation.
Just doing like a Fleet White impression over the top. I do
a great farmer.
Oh, good.
I'm just putting it out there. If we ever, if there's ever an opening, a really good Devonshire farmer.
I mean, I've got a mixture of mongrel heritage, so I can do a bit of everything. Irish, Scottish, Welsh, chuck it in there. I don't do a bad South African accent, if I'm honest. You have to have a starter word, though, don't you?
You do have to, like, mine is Tratter. And then I can say, the refusal of John and Patsy Ramsey to cooperate fully and genuinely with the police has been the first and foremost cause of this investigation's failure.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
I'm telling you, it's Tratter allows me to get into it. But I'm terribly sorry. Moving on.
In the years following, Fleet White would testify about his disapproval of the Ramseys' behaviour during the investigation, particularly their public relations strategy. So there was a lot of they'd go on public outlets and things and talk to the press, but they wouldn't talk to the police as much.
Yeah,
that doesn't sit right, does it?
That did them no favours.
No,
but
absolutely.
How do you get a strategy in these things? It's not as though you have a PR advisor following you around, suggesting who you talk to and who you don't.
Do you not? I do.
Or do you?
Clearly not.
Frankly, it's needed in our everyday life.
I was going to say,
that little filter kicking in.
Yeah, I've got one in my head, along with the other voices. Adding another layer of chaos, the Whites were soon pulled into a strange and ultimately discredited subplot involving a woman named Nancy Krebs. She's a one, this one.
Right, go on.
She claimed that Fleet White's family was part of a paedophile ring connected to JonBenét's death. Gee, that's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement.
Isn't it?
Did she get sued?
Well, everyone else is getting sued, so we might as well add old Nancy in. Investigators, however, found no evidence to support her allegations. Right. But the episode left a long shadow, fueling years of online speculation and dragging the Whites into a storm they had never anticipated. I bet. By then, Fleet and Priscilla, once quiet, loyal friends who had been stood in the Ramseys' kitchen on the morning of December 26th, handing out bagels and making coffee and
playing memory games,
had become some of the most outspoken critics of the Ramseys' conduct, publicly questioning their cooperation with police and the strategy that placed attorneys and media advisors between the family and investigators. Their shift from confidants to critics has remained one of the case's most enduring fractures, promoting the lingering question of what exactly Fleet and Priscilla witnessed in those early hours that convinced them to turn away so completely from the family they had once defended.
Jesus
Oh, that's
Christ.
very deep, isn't it?
The mind boggles, frankly, and it is so deep. I'm going to stop talking about the deepness. In 2000, the Ramseys published a book, The Death of Innocence, in which they maintained their innocence and expressed their belief that an intruder was responsible. They participated in several interviews and continued to advocate for further investigation into intruder suspects. Patsy Ramsey sadly died in 2006 from ovarian cancer, the same illness she had survived in the early 90s. In 2008, Boulder District Attorney Mary Lacey publicly stated that new DNA testing had identified additional touch DNA on JonBenét's clothing that did not match any member of the Ramsey family. She issued a letter formally clearing the Ramseys of involvement. However, later, experts questioned the reliability of touch DNA in this context, noting that such DNA can be transferred through manufacturing or handling. The BPD stated that the case remained open and that all evidence continued to be evaluated. As of today, the Boulder Police Department has stated repeatedly that the case remains open and that the evidence continues to be reviewed as forensic technology advances. Lou Schmidt, our old mate Lou,
Good old Lou,
felt so strongly that the Ramseys were innocent that he championed sharing evidence far and wide in order to support the intruder theory long after he resigned from the case and retired again as a detective. Before his death from cancer in 2010, Lou asked that his family continue to actively work the case. To this day, his detective work continues via his daughter and son-in-law, all funded via a GoFundMe page, specially set up for the cause. In 2022, the BPD and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation announced that they were consulting with the FBI on potential future DNA testing using newer techniques, though no new public conclusions have been announced.
Yeah, what are your conclusions and your theories then, my friend?
Oh my God, my theories from my armchair. I'd just like to point out these are just theories, not an allegation.
We have no lawyers.
We have no money.
We have no money. What's half of nothing, Katie?
Fuck all. That's
exactly.
What that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Go big or go home. I think Burke did it.
Damn.
I think Burke did it. I think she ate his pineapple.
That fucking bowl of pineapple.
He's already clocked her with a golf club.
Ooh,
and he's already clocked her with a golf club previously. Yeah, so I think Burke did it. I think John and Patsy realised what had happened. I think that perhaps John or Patsy knew, more Patsy maybe, I don't know, but I don't think they were aware of fully what had happened to JonBenét and with the findings of sexual abuse.
I agree.
And there are things that we can't explain away, and it says throughout that their DNA, the family didn't match DNA that was found on JonBenét. But then I kind of look at the policing. I go, well, was everybody tested?
And to be honest with you,
these parties tested?
The policing was so piss poor from the start. How can we trust any of that DNA testing?
Yeah.
And I just think you let anyone in and out of the house willy-nilly trampling around all over the fucking place. How can anyone in their right mind trust any of that DNA testing?
Yeah.
I just think, my theory is that I don't think it was John that killed her.
No.
However, I do think John was involved. My thoughts are that Patsy covered up for Burke because, and I mean, I can't say this for everyone, but I would think that a mother, the only person a mother would cover up for is another child.
Is their child.
This is what I would think anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think you would cover up the murder of your child if it was your husband.
No.
I may be wrong.
No,
I mean, let's face it.
Sorry, Darren.
I may be wrong.
you know, I mean, there probably is some women out there. I know of one particular case that we would cover in the future that has done that, but most women would not cover up the murder of their daughter for their husband. I think she covered up for Burke. I think John went into business mode out of protection of the family and possibly moved the body down to the basement.
If she died upstairs.
If she died upstairs, I think, or one of the bedrooms or in the kitchen. I think maybe Burke went into a bit of a rage over that fucking pineapple. Maybe lamped her with the mag light or something of the same ilk. The body was then moved down to the basement because it was no possible, it may not have been found. And then John maybe covered her because she was covered up in a sort of cradle that she was tucked in. But also the fact that she had the pair of Wednesday knickers on
for the day.
I feel as that was really a maternal move for me.
I agree. And I do think, and sorry to cast shade on all the partying and stuff as well, and again, allegedly, this is my theory, I think more was happening at those parties.
I do.
I think things were seen that shouldn't have been seen by small children.
Possibly.
I think things were possibly happening that shouldn't have been happening to children. And for me, it's that 911 call from the party a few nights before.
Yes, yeah. Like you say, have these children seen things they shouldn't have seen? And is there a possibility that Patsy and John didn't know to the extent of this? Burke had maybe tried something or something that they weren't aware of, and then maybe possibly found this out later at the autopsy and then was shocked with this and didn't know this. We don't know that. Obviously, nobody knows that. I genuinely don't get the impression it was an outside job. Detective Arndt kind of rounds that up for me from her theory of feeling very, very cold around John and them two being apart throughout the morning and the fact that he knew exactly to go straight down to the basement.
And also nobody's hanging on for 10 a.m.
No.
If you're a parent waiting for a call on a ransom and the ransom call is going to happen by 10 a.m. and nobody's called,
you'd be going out of your tiny mind, wouldn't you?
I cannot tell you, I would be turning myself inside out.
You'd be rocking in a corner.
You would.
You'd at 10 a.m. you'd be constantly looking at your watch or up at a clock, or you'd be at the bare minimum. Surely you'd be consoling your wife. You wouldn't be in two separate rooms from one another. Yeah, I just think that they were trying to stay separate because she was probably very emotional. He was trying to stay on business because he had to try and protect his family. And I just think it was just arranged like that because there was just trying to be a cover-up.
And John had already lost his oldest daughter.
Absolutely.
So he's lost two daughters.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want to lose another one.
Absolutely, yeah. And why would I want to then lose a son?
So, they are our theories.
Yeah, it's a dark one, definitely, but I think that's probably the closest we feel that we've got to an answer.
Yeah, I think so.
But obviously others have got different theories out there, and that's your thoughts and these are ours.
The death of JonBenét Ramsey remains one of the most widely discussed unsolved cases in the United States. The available evidence has been interpreted in multiple ways, a lot of which we've left out of this episode, to be honest with you.
I mean, we covered a lot. Yeah.
And the lack of definitive evidence and conclusions has allowed numerous theories to persist. The official position of law enforcement is that the investigation is ongoing and the case remains open. Will we ever find out who killed JonBenét Ramsey?
Will we?
Dun, dun, dun.
Listen for the next episode. No, I'm joking. There's only two.
I mean,
what a roller coaster!
What a roller coaster that was, man! I don't even know what accent.
Geordie. I do apologise to all my fellow Geordies out there.
Tratter. What a roller coaster that was! By Jove, I tell you, I did not know where we was going or where we was going to finish.
I mean, I don't think we did at any point, but we've given it a bloody good go, my friend.
Bloody good go.
And thanks for staying with us.
Oh, please tell me you've stayed with us.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to think that after the amount of effort that's gone into
I'm not entirely sure I've stayed with me, if I'm honest, through parts of that.
But it's all good. We're hanging on in there by a thread. But, do go and follow us on socials.
Please do. Review us,
yeah. We've got Facebook, TikTok, Insta.
We have.
The big three. YouTube. Yeah. Like away, follow us.
Comment on any theories that you have.
On anything you like, give us your theories and what you guys think, and stick with, because yes, it is our first case, and yes, it is probably crazy and wild and what have you, but we've had a lot of fun doing it, I think, haven't we, Fred?
We really have.
Yeah.
And it's been a huge learning curve, but I thoroughly enjoyed what we're doing here, and I'm actually really excited.
Yeah, I think
the rest of 2026 holds.
Yeah, with good things to come. Good things to come. So yeah, like, follow, and all that jazz, and we'll see you next time.
See you next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.